Be who you are and say what you feel because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Dr. Seuss. This is an incredible quote from Dr. Seuss about the importance of being yourself and not worrying about what others think of you. This is why I feel able to journal in front of the world during Too Soon to Stop. I feel honored to be able to give back in my own unique way. At the age of 64 and coming to the end of a career as an emergency room physician for over 30 years, I am giving back to others like myself who are mature but not ready to retire. We are all more alike than we realize. We want to move on to express ourselves in our own unique way and try something else to give back to society. It could be something as big as opening up your own company and employing others, or simply having that heart-to-heart with a youth with great potential but seems to be going down the wrong path and hanging out with the wrong crowd that winds up in trouble. As long as there is breath in your body, you have your wits about you, it is never too late to make a difference in your own special way. Smiling and saying hello when passed by strangers on the street, occasionally, of course, or in the hallway, or even getting on the elevator and saying hello, breaking the awkward silence. When in the coffee shop, if you can, pay for the customer's bill behind you who is a total stranger to you if you can afford it. Do these little things to make a difference in others' lives. It will pay off in spades. You will definitely make a positive impact on others' lives. They will want to pay it forward. Hold the door open for someone. It only takes a few seconds of your time and costs nothing. Just be looking for opportunities to make difference in someone's life as you go about your day. Did you know when you teach and give back to others, your wisdom in simple act is compounded? Not only are you helping others, but you are always even further learning from your own teaching and becoming even more masterful at whatever it is you are showing others. This is also true of that kind gesture. When you hold the door for someone, it impacts both you and the receiver in a way that would never have happened had you simply walked through the door. So where's the mastery in this simple act? Mastery is not restricted to learning a skill. It also is about learning how to live your best life and helping others to do the same. It is helping people feel good about themselves and believing in others. In actuality, you are really helping yourself as you help others. Perhaps there is something selfish about this, some would say. Well, we are all interdependent, not dependent or independent. We all need each other. This is why it is so important for you to see your importance and the need to become the best version of yourself. You not only help yourself, but make the world a better place for all of us. Don't let years of lies of telling yourself that you don't matter when in reality you really do, and this is the truth. Being made to feel less than by society that idolizes youth is no longer our status quo anymore. As you age, you are overlooked and pushed aside by those who think you should retire and get out of the way so that a youth can take your place. No longer has to be your standard by which you live your life. Let your life and work speak for itself as you strive for excellence. It is a matter of making a decision. Not everyone will understand, and that's okay. Just don't let it stop you. This can be a powerful lesson. One day when I was working at the hospital, I walked past the room of one of my patients while I was going around doing my rounds and seeing other people. I am presently working on the observation unit. The patient that I am referring to was 90 years old. I knew this because they had asked me initially to put her on the observation unit. Now, the observation unit is for people that are only going to be in the hospital for 24 to 48 hours. I had a feeling just looking at this patient and assessing her that she would need longer time. And I was right, because here it is 5 days later and she was still in the hospital. Her room was right outside the nurse's station. Sometimes we do this when we frequently want to watch a patient more closely. And at the age of 90, she needed to be watched closely. So, of course, her room was passed by multiple times a day simply because of where it was located. Well, anyway, one day I glanced in the room and this 90-year-old woman was making up her bed. This unusual sight stopped me in my tracks. And I said to her, even though she was not my patient at the time, "You're making up your own bed?" She answered, "Yes, it gives me a chance to exercise." Furthermore, she was not simply making the linen and just spreading it around like I typically do. She was tucking in the corners and smoothing out the bed. When she was done, her bed looked pristine. She would put my bed making talent to shame. She made the bed with care and love. We are able to step back as we are not quite as busy and do more of the things that we care about. This refreshing encounter reminds me of the need to stay active and engaged. I want to be like her when I'm 90. Have you heard the saying, knowledge is power? It is something I have heard over and over again as I was growing up. I would like to challenge this thinking. Knowledge is not power. Power comes from what you do with what you know. Be a lifelong learner. Look for interesting ways to learn. It is simply not coming from books all the time, observing occurrences around you for the purpose of acquiring the know-how to implement what you are seeing, and learning in your own life is tantamount. This is why it is so important to be a participant in life and not a spectator. You will feel much better about yourself as you help others. Never stop learning. Please keep in mind that it is not necessary to know everything before you take action and start living out your dream. Sloppy action is better than perfect mediocrity, which is a pathway to inaction. Please do not wait for the perfect moment to begin. It is more important to implement what you know to do now than to wait for the perfect time. There will be no perfect time. There will always be more to learn and more growth needed. If you think about it, this is how we all learn. How does a baby learn to walk? Don't they repeatedly fall down, get plenty of boo-boos from hitting their little heads and scraping their little knees? Do they stop trying and simply sit on the floor and cry in their wet diaper? Of course not. They simply pick themselves up and keep trying. This is also how I learned to be a doctor. I graduated from medical school, and 1 week later, I was working as a doctor. Of course, I had supervising doctors closely overseeing my work as I learned to perfect my practice. Scary as it sounds, there was my first patient. In my case, it was a newborn baby needing a well child exam. I was working in a nursery full of newborn infants. I will never forget the fear I felt, but also the deep desire to help and the exhilaration that I finally was living out my dream to become a doctor. My supervising physician at the time made sure that I did my exam thoroughly and correctly. Let your desire to live out your best version of yourself and your dream lead you to get the help that you need to make your dream a reality. Always keep in mind, spectacular achievements are always preceded by unspectacular planning. Things don't just happen. There is nothing magical about it. 4 grueling years of medical school led me to the privilege of being in a room full of newborn infants as their doctor. This required years of blood, sweat, tears, and planning. Let's take Michael Jordan, for instance. Do you think he woke up one day and told himself that I will flick my wrist mid-court and the ball is going to land in that hoop? It will be all net. It would be like butter. Of course not. That only happened because It had been strategically thought out and rehearsed over and over and over again. You do not see the years of late nights and focused training that was put in to get to where he was. Only after years of rehearsing and training did things come together like hands in a glove for him. This is why things look so smooth like butter. The fact of the matter was not magical. It just seems that way because MJ made it appear effortless. MJ was able to stand midcourt and flick his wrist and successfully make that basket. The years of hard work, planning, and practice made it possible for him to be able to play his game spectacularly. Like the aforementioned butter. There he would stand midcourt, flick his wrist, and the ball would fly up in the air. The next thing you know, whoosh, the crowd went wild. MJ made what took him years to learn look incredibly easy because he had taken the time and the effort to perfect his skills. If you are anything like me, you tried to imitate your parents as a child with tasks that were well beyond your youthful capability. You simply saw the end product and you thought, hey, if mom and dad can do this, so can I. I can do this too. However, you failed miserably, and a lot of times you need mom or dad to bail you out. They, of course, did so, and then you had some splaining to do. You feel so foolish as you are trying to justify what you just miserably failed at. They, of course, look at you with pity in their eyes. They can only see a younger version of themselves having to explain themselves to their parents. It is the circle of life. My point is, without putting in proper planning and practice, things will go haywire quickly. Let's look at the following. Fail to plan, then plan to fail. This is a saying I am sure you have heard of before. It is so true and plays out multiple times a day when you see the consequences of people who have to face things that were well over their head and stressed out as a result. When arrive on time with a well thought out plan of execution, things go so much more smoothly and you are so much more confident in your ability to complete whatever task you are attempting. Never underestimate the power of planning and hard work. To others, it will look like you are performing magic when you are exhibiting your talent. In actuality, it comes from blood, sweat, and tears, years in the making. Here's another powerful quote. The foundation stones for balanced success are honesty, character, integrity, faith, love, and loyalty. This is a quote by Zig Ziglar, motivational speaker and author. This takes us back to the importance of one thing, our own personal example. People are watching, especially the youth. Be a great example that they will be able to and want to imitate and then pass on to the next generation. The naysayers will be critical and they will never stop talking. But don't worry about that. You build your legacy by simple acts and being a fantastic example worthy of imitation. Till next time, praying for your success and wishing you the very best.